Hi, second grade. Me and Marvin here for language arts. So remember, this week we are reading fantasy books, so things that couldn't really happen in real life, but the author makes it seem really believable. Today we're going to read the book called The Secret Shortcut by Mark Teague. So take a look at the front cover. What do you notice? Take some private thinking time. What do you notice about the front cover? And how can you tell that this book is like the last one we read, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs? So could these things really happen in real life? Interesting. So Wendell and Floyd, these two characters, are having trouble getting to school on time. Why might that be a problem for them? So let's read and find out if and how they solve their problem. The Secret Shortcut by Mark Teague. On Monday, Wendell and Floyd were late for school. They had nearly been captured by space creatures. They told their teacher, "Ridiculous," said Miss Gernsplat, and she warned them not to let it happen again. Have you ever seen a space creature on your way to school? But Tuesday was no better. Pirates were loose in the neighborhood. It was sheer bad luck. Wendell and Floyd explained when they showed up late for school. "Preposterous," said Miss Gernsplat. Oh my goodness. And on Wednesday, even though Wendell and Floyd left early, a plague of frogs made them late once again. "Absurd," cried their teacher. "I'm warning you, be here on time tomorrow or else. And no more crazy excuses." So what is the problem so far in this story? It seems they cannot get to school on time. And Miss Gernsplat uses words like ridiculous, preposterous, absurd. Do you agree? So what are you thinking? What do you think the boys are doing on their way to school? Do you think this stuff is really happening? "There's got to be a way to get to school on time," said Wendell. "We'll just have to leave earlier." Floyd arrived at Wendell's house so early the next morning that the sun was barely up, and Wendell was still in his pajamas. So the boys are trying to solve their problem of getting to school on time. Do you think this is a good idea to leave earlier? "I've got an idea," said Wendell as he quickly got dressed. "We'll follow my secret shortcut and get to school even sooner." "Shortcut?" asked Floyd. "I didn't know that there were any good shortcuts to school." "This is the secretest shortcut of all," said Wendell. "In fact, I invented it myself." He led Floyd up the alley by the Ulick's backyard, then down a culvert, over a fence, and through a dense thicket of blackberry vines. What are you thinking about this shortcut? Do you think this is a good idea, a good solution? Then they scrambled over some boulders, down a steep bank, and across a narrow stream. "This is some shortcut," said Floyd. "Relax," said Wendell. "We'll be there in a minute." But the forest became thicker and darker. Soon it was hung with vines. The screeches of strange jungle animals echoed all around. "Maybe we took a wrong turn," said Floyd. "I'm pretty sure the school is right up ahead," Wendell told him. Take a look at the picture, all the animals. But the jungle only grew wilder. And when the boys finally came to a trail, it didn't lead straight to the school as they had hoped. Instead, it meandered through quicksand swamps and past large, sleeping crocodiles. Wow, what an adventure just to get to school. And across a deep, rocky gorge. It began to get late. "This is going to be hard to explain," said Floyd. They stood in a small clearing. "I have an idea," said Wendell. "We'll climb a tree and see if we can spot the school." Do you think that's a good idea? They chose the biggest, tallest tree they could find and climbed all the way to the top. "Do you see the school?" asked Wendell. "I don't even see the town," said Floyd. They watched the monkeys playing in the treetops. "I have another idea," said Wendell. "What is it?" asked Floyd. He was getting tired of Wendell's ideas. "We'll swing from these vines just like the monkeys," said Wendell. "That way we'll travel much faster." It's an interesting idea. Let's see if it works. Soon they were swinging from vine to vine. "This isn't bad," shouted Floyd. "I'll bet we're making good time." "I knew this shortcut would work out," Wendell crowed. But at that moment, they ran out of vines. Uh-oh. The boys landed plop, plop in a giant puddle of mud. "Now what do we do?" asked Floyd. "I don't know," said Wendell. "I'm out of ideas." They sat in the puddle and thought about all the trouble they were going to be in. "Miss Gernslat will never believe this story," said Wendell. "It is sort of crazy," said Floyd. Just then, from far away, they heard a school bell ring. That means they must be close to the school. Do you think their teacher is going to believe this story? Why or why not? "Did you hear that?" cried Wendell. "That was the first bell. We can still make it if we run." They ran until the jungle gave way to forest, and the forest became woods, and then they scurried through the Mortley's backyard and up the hill to the school. They flew through the door of Miss Gernslat's room and landed squishily in their seats just as the late bell rang. Why did they land squishily in their seats? Remember, they got covered in mud. "Well, you made it," said their teacher, "and just in time. But how on earth did you get so muddy just walking to school?" Floyd looked at Wendell. Wendell looked at Floyd. "On second thought," said Miss Gernslat, "maybe you'd better not say." During recess, Wendell and Floyd sat in the sun to give the mud a chance to dry. "At least we finally got to school on time," said Wendell. "That's the main thing," Floyd agreed. And in fact, it was quite a while before they were late to school again. Even so, they never did find a really good shortcut. All right, what do you guys think of this story? So, let's talk a little bit about it. So, what things in this story could happen in real life? Think about that. What things, this is fantasy, but what things could happen in real life? Could you really be late to school? Yeah. Could you find a shortcut? Yeah. Would it look like this? Probably not. Walking through Squirrel Hill. Let's see. This story is fiction, which means that the author made it up, but it's a special kind of fiction called fantasy. So, what things in this story could not happen in real life? What things could not happen in real life? Let's see. Let's look back at the book. on your way to CDS, could you run into space creatures? I never have. Could you run into a whole bunch of frogs? Or pirates on the loose in your neighborhood? So all of these things make this book fantasy. So the boys certainly had a problem getting to school on time. How else might the boys have solved their problem? So they decided to use a shortcut. Can you think of another way they could have solved their problem? So today for writing, I want you to use your imagination and imagine that you're late for school and you're trying to find a shortcut. And I want you to write about a make-believe shortcut that you create. So, your shortcut to school. Use your imagination. Do you run into flying goats? Is the road blocked by rhinoceros? I don't know. So your job today in your writing journal is to write about your crazy, crazy fantasy fiction shortcut to school. Happy writing. Have fun. Talk to you soon.